Coming up on this week's episode of Bruvcast.
You're meant to be more of your demeanor should be more of your professional demeanor.
Yeah.
But you know that person is from the ends, and they know that you're from the ends.
I've got this guy that's joined my team, and I was like, he's from the ends, right?
Yeah.
The minute he rocked up, he's like all like, he talks profesh, he dresses profesh, and then I was like, what's going on, bruv? He's like, yeah, bruv, all good. That's when it dropped. Bruv, everything changed. That minute, everything changed.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Bruvcast. I am joined here today by a good friend, a bruv from back in the day. Bro, how many years have we known each other?
You know what? I was trying to work this out today. Hi everyone, my name's Situl. I think it's around close to 30.
30 years.
Close to 30.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
It was most of our lives. Most of our adult lives.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is our adult lives, basically.
And the other.
Yeah, so Situl and I met at high school, and then we also then went to sixth form together. Then we decided to go to university, but we did not go to the same university, but we wanted to move out. So what we decided to do was find a flat that was like, bro, this was such stupidness, right? We would find a flat that was close enough to two different universities, one being City and the other being Westminster, the Harrow campus. And it made zero sense, but we got a flat in Kensal Green, which is kind of in the middle, I guess, but no more in the middle than South London, which is where we both live. And so we lived, that's when we met Mick, who's also the co-host on the podcast. And then we were at university together, and then we also worked together as well a couple of times. Worked together in retail at Next, and then also at the
famous, infamous SIA.
SIA. It was like some data entry job. Anyway, so very long intro, but a good friend who I've known for many, many years, and it's great to have you on the pod. Welcome, Situl.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and I've been catching the first three pods and taking me back. Definitely.
I know. Yeah, so you may have recognized some of the stories from school days in the previous episode.
Yeah. I've just got mental images of Mick on some of it.
Oh, making sandwiches.
Yeah, and you know what? I could actually kind of imagine that as well, knowing what Mick's like, his kind of personality, trying to flog stuff on the side, especially when we met him, right? So you could imagine how that went down back in the days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point, actually. Maybe we should save that story for when Mick's here to defend himself, because otherwise we can...
Exactly. I think we should. Because I think that was a very different version of Mick in a
oh my God,
parallel universe. That one.
So different, man, compared to where he's at now. But yeah, so let's start from early days, man.
I think we all the boys really clicked. I think it was year 8, second year of school.
Yeah.
And I just kind of think since then it's grown. We've had those Bhangra nights. That was such a good memory. So basically, me, Raj, and a couple of other boys were the kind of organisers for our school Bhangra night, and this thing. Well, I don't know. Did your sister first start one off?
She started one off.
She started the first one off, and then you kind of took the reins and got us in it, right? Yeah. So,
I carried it on, and
so we
roped you guys into it.
We were the second year to kind of do it. So I think we ran it for 2-3 years.
2 years.
But yeah,
raised some money for charity as well. I think it was 300 quid or something.
Yeah. So I think that that was quite interesting. But I think school really got interesting when we went into like year 10, when they kind of mix up all the classes and you end up with like all the kind of randoms, right? So there's no elite class anymore. You're just like,
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, because it used to be set based, right? So it was all based
exactly,
on your attainment, and then they switched it all up in 10 and 11 because all based on GCSEs.
exactly. So yeah, I think we
Um,
met some interesting characters. I mean, some of them were like, God, my God. I mean, he came up in the last podcast, right? The schoolyard bully. I've got a mental picture in my mind. This,
bruv,
this guy used to like. Do you remember? He used to like pick his nose and like trying to like put it on people. Oh, it's disgusting, mate.
it was
Yeah,
horrendous.
no,
Yeah.
I think what they say is right. Those school years are the best years of your life.
Do you think they define you?
For me, I think they did, and it's
Hmm.
purely because of the friends I made. Like,
Okay.
look at us boys; they're like kind of lifelong friends, right? And
Hmm.
I think that period did define us, and you could see like everyone's influence rubbing on each other, like through the good times and the bad, right? Like school, and that's what it was.
100%. Also, like, I feel like our family, bruv, I'm just thinking about it now. Our families have known each other for almost the same
Yeah,
amount of time.
exactly.
So, whenever there's been any functions or events and stuff, families have been invited. Your parents have come, your brother has come. You've been invited at my sister's weddings. So yeah, it's been many years in the making.
It's,
And then we went to sixth form together.
oh God.
Sixth form was a funny one, you know. It was
Oh,
actually, you know what? You know why I thought sixth form was funny? Because at high school, we worked really hard, got decent grades, and we tended to be like near the top of the class. Okay. Going from there to sixth form was a game changer because I was at the bottom. Like a
if
lot.
you're at the bottom, I was like at the bottom of the barrel underneath, right? Dug sit
Bro,
under.
I remember it was such a grounding moment for me because I was like, I'm like really struggling here. I was doing physics and maths and like I didn't know what was going on with any of it. I had to like I was asking people for help all the time. It was a good learning experience, but I think that is what got me. I feel like my work ethic came from sixth form. I don't think I had that from from high school because going into sixth form, having to work for the A levels, and then like the pressure of university and all of that got me to work. But
Yeah,
we were not the best behaved.
but it wasn't that. I think the culture there was just something else.
Yeah,
We rocked up and we did not fit in. We were the outcasts, right? Like you could kind of describe a predominantly white boys' school, grammar. There were like three Asians and the two
they weren't really Asians though, bruv.
they weren't they were kind of ingrained in the whole like whole culture, right? So me and you rock up from this ghetto school in Croydon.
Yeah, yeah.
I think heads got turned, right, and I remember it's like just some of the teachers, they were like, oh, how you feel that, innit? Like how did these guys get in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have like your kind of peers and your classmates, and there was something else. Like a lot of them were like, and you see it in some of these films, right? You see like these kind of elite rugby players or like generational wealth. Like those were the kind of people we went sixth form with. Bro, we were never gonna fit in. We were never gonna fit in.
Nah, 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 nah. We didn't. I don't think we did. I think we just like kept to ourselves because this sixth form was the way that the sixth form was set up is that it was a boys' school, but sixth form had girls and boys, and there was a lot of people that came just for sixth form, and I feel like we bonded with that group rather
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
ones that were like the day ones that were in the grammar school. It was weird because you kind of had to, in some ways, you had to reinvent yourself because everyone knew you at high school, but now all of a sudden you've got like a handful of people because there were some, in addition to you, there was a few others that came from our first school over.
Yeah.
But I think there was times where maybe I tried too hard especially when I was doing all that virus stuff, bro.
Yeah, you know what? I think you should drop that story because I think we both had like defining moments in sixth
Yeah,
form.
yeah. So,
Well,
so
actually,
this,
we've had more than one.
mate, bro, do you know what? Yeah, my memory of you, my biggest, most like vivid memory of you at sixth form was you would come in and be like, "Have you seen Mrs. Thomas? Is Miss Thomas in? Is she asking for me?" And she was the head of sixth form, and she was always on your case, man. Always on your case. It was pretty much every day. Pretty
Yeah,
much
it
every
was.
day you would ask me that question. But I was just doing I was in IT class and I was just doing a demo. I was showing someone how you could create. It wasn't even a virus. I was showing him how to create a macro. And all the macro was doing was on Microsoft Word, the save button. I replaced the save button on Microsoft Word with a macro which would delete all the text and type ha 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 you've been hacked with a smiley face and then save that and then close the document. And this was back before there was cloud, right? So nothing would ever get backed up.
Yeah.
It would just get saved to the same file. So I was just saying, look how easy it is. It's so easy to do this. And then he was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. The next day in assembly, Mrs. Thomas, at the end of the assembly, says, can Raj please come and speak to me after this assembly? And I was like, shit.
I remember that.
And then she was like, the IT team want to see you immediately. And I was like, I had no idea. I was like, they've got the wrong guy. It's not me. You know when you have that moment where you're just cocky and you're like, nah. I'm cash. I'm
What are
clean.
you
Like
talking about?
squeaky
What are you talking
clean.
about?
Yeah. So I rock up into the IT room and the guy goes to me, what do you know about macros? I was like, oh, fuck. Bruv. And then he was like, that macro you created got into the entire network of the school and got onto every single computer, including the teachers. And when anytime someone was saving any document, it would do that to their file. And he's like, there's a lot of people who've lost their coursework because of you. Rob, I felt so bad, man. And
Shit
then,
happens.
nah, man, I felt so bad. Well, you know what? It wasn't even intentional. It wasn't intentional. And then I was like, look, I'm sorry. And he was like, in a way, it was good because you identified that there was a flaw in the system. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then I was on my way. I never like openly, and I knew people who had lost their work. I knew, and it was like, there was that group of kids, and they were like all the A's, like
Yeah.
10 A stars in GCSE lot. It was some of those lot, and I was like, that's all right, man. You guys churning out genius content all the time, so this is a minor setback. The second one will be a better one, better version. So yeah, it was all right, man. I think that one was it was a moment where I was shitting it a little bit, but
Yeah,
came
no,
through in
I remember that. I was like, you might as well join the blacklist.
it. I'll be joining
Yeah,
you, bro. Asking for Miss Thomas.
no, so I think I joined the blacklist first, and then you pulled your stunt, and I think second year we pulled quite a few stunts. So
Yeah.
I remember because it happened shortly after. It happened shortly after. I think it was like 2 months in, where Mrs. Thomas called me in. Well, no, called my parents in and called me in. It's like, I don't think your son should be in the school. I was like, what? It's like he's better suited to a college. And
I didn't know she said that.
bro, she called my parents in. I got home. My dad flipped. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I get it, right? He's like, you're given an opportunity. Like, why would you fuck it up? It's like, look, it's not that it's hard. It's the people around me that freaking like just. different. They're
Any
on a
guy
different
blaming
level.
people.
I can't work in this environment. Yeah, and then I think it was a couple of weeks after that the whole virus thing came up. So yeah, the two people that came from been
Mate,
blacklisted.
that was crazy. That was crazy.
That was jokes.
But we also had tutoring. We had tutoring together as well. I just
Oh,
remembered.
Desmok.
Yeah, Desmok. It's
Oh
like
God.
South Indian guy would rock up to my house. What day was it? Saturdays.
Saturday mornings I like. It was early as well.
Yeah, I'd do that on Saturdays. I would do that, and then I would go and do Gujarati class.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
But
was
you know,
blessed.
I think Desmok just literally rocked up for the tea and puris. My man was always
he, used to,
eating.
he used to love it, bro. So basically, Desmok thought he taught us maths and science, and it was 2 hours, right? 20 quid each, right? So he took $40 for 2 hours, and at like half time, mum would come in with chai, gatia, mixed biscuits. Sometimes he'll get like you'll get like hot food as well,
Yeah.
butter pawa or something. He used to love it, man. I could see his face light up as soon as that door opened. He was like, time for food.
But you know, the thing is, right? We'll be working through, and this guy will be munching away. So it's so fucking hard to concentrate. And do you remember he used to give us like a time? He was like, in 10 minutes, I want this done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But my man be munching away. We'll be trying to concentrate under pressure.
Do you think those tuition lessons helped you?
I think that it did. I genuinely think they did because like sixth form helped me to a degree, but I think he actually eventually did his job. Like it did start coming through because just the way he was teaching, I think it was just very different to
Yeah.
how because so if you compare like the situation we were in sixth form where you had 80% of the class that were like more or less geniuses heading to either Warwick or Oxford or Cambridge. And then you had us, like it's a different style of teaching, right? Because these guys were just cracking on.
Yeah, it's true.
And the kind of step up. So it was just different. I think we needed that like attention, which we couldn't get to that level.
Yeah.
But some of the other classes were like, they were like IT and stuff. That was fine. It was just like the maths and the science. I remember quitting physics after like 3 weeks. I was like, I can't act this.
I quit it after my AS levels because I got a U. Unclassified. Bro,
See,
that's how bad I got. A U.
bro, you should have did what I did. That's what I thought. I'm like, I'm gonna end up with a U. I might as well quit while I'm ahead, right?
Yeah, it was a waste. It was a waste of my effort, man. It was a waste. I still remember the day that we went to get our results, and we got into our universities, and then I think it was that day that we decided that we were going to live together.
Yeah. Literally, I think we picked up our results. We went home. All right. How do we get the fuck out of here? Basically.
You know what? But you know what? Yeah. Okay. So this is some backstory. So obviously, me and Situl have known each other for like forever, right? Go to high school, go to sixth form. We needed a third person to live with us, right? A third person, and one of our mates, Mittel, wasn't like first he was in it, right? At one point he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come and live with you guys, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm moving to Bristol. Bruv, he switched it up. Switched it up, pulled the plug and closed down the studio, and he's like, no, I'm going to Bristol. And then I don't know why, but I think it was working out too expensive if it was just two of us to get a place.
And the thing is, we didn't want to live in halls.
And we didn't want to live in hall. No, we couldn't get halls. I couldn't get halls because I was
Close.
I was within the M25 and it was London University, so they were like, you ain't gonna get halls. So we were literally asking around, right? Like, anyone know anyone that will come in on this? And then that's when Mick was like, oh yeah, there's this guy Mick. And that's
That's how
literally
it
where
started.
we met him, because
Yeah.
I think we'd
But
met him once before, right?
we met him at my birthday, my 18th. He came along.
Yeah.
I think that's around the time we kind of first met him, which
Mm.
was probably what no, about 3, 4 months before that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'd
Um,
only not had that one interaction with him, and I was like, I don't know, he's got a pulse.
yeah, exactly.
Bro, we were desperate. We were actually desperate.
Do you remember how it worked out? Like me and you rocked up to his mom and dad's house, and he was in America.
Yes.
And we basically had to pitch to his mum why Mick could live with us. My man's in America had nothing to say.
Yeah, we did. We pitched it to him, right? We pitched it to
His,
his
his,
parents.
yeah, yeah. So we basically met his parents. This guy's in America for 6 weeks. So he's not coming back anytime soon. So he's not even seen the flat, not even kind of met us properly.
But he was
Um,
like, yes. But he did say yes.
he said yes. His mum's like, oh yeah, Rog and Silver rocked up. Like, they're talking about living with you. Like, do you want to live with him? Like, yeah, all right then. Oh my god, that was so funny.
He didn't do. Yeah, he didn't do anything in any of the flat hunting.
I know
None of that.
nothing.
And he got the biggest room because we did a draw because we
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah,
keep it equal,
yeah.
and he ended up getting the biggest room.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because his parents did all the contractual stuff. My
Yeah.
man rocked up on the first day of uni with all his shit. First time
Hey,
he's seen
bro, do
it.
you remember? You know when we were clearing out that flat, he found a bag. And I think this was from when he moved in or when someone came, and they
Yeah.
they left him Tepla wrapped in foil, and that bag was just sitting by his wardrobe. But you know, none of us ever smelt it, bro. That is rank.
I
That
know.
is.
You know what? Yeah, it was definitely his parents that it was definitely his parents that gave that to him and just kind of left it. But how like think about it, like how much guts do you have to like move in with these like two random
Two
blokes that
randoms completely, and
you
like because at least
that you've met
we
once?
had each other, right? So if it was a
Yeah.
complete wreck, at least we're both in it together, and I know you, and you know we got each other's back. If he turned out to be a psycho, can you imagine? Imagine that though. Like imagine if he was like messy or dirty, or he had like weird friends that came over, or he took over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
We were desperate though, man.
Yeah, we were desperate, and I think Milt will help because Milt will kind of
Oh yeah, he was his guarantor, isn't it?
Milt will vouch for him, and then Milt will vouch for us to Mick, right?
Yeah,
And I think that level of trust, like Milt was a middleman, like
he was a go-between.
he was the go between. He made it all like kosher, like legit.
Yeah,
But I still remember the look on his face when he walked in. It's like with
I
all
think
this
I've got a
shit.
video of it. I think I actually have a
Yeah,
video of it.
yeah, yeah. So do you remember when me and you went to see that flat? We rocked
Mm.
up to Kensal Green,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that random estate agent came to pick us up in his car. It wasn't even like a estate agent. We were sitting in it was a two-seater. We were sitting in the back. Took
Oh
us
yeah,
down
yeah,
these like
yeah,
back
yeah,
routes,
yeah.
back routes, right? And we're like, all right, it's getting close to September. We don't have a place to live, so fuck it. Yeah, but I think Kensal worked out. And then when we moved in, the day we moved in, we were traveling up. There was that massive sign outside. So, murder's just been committed. My parents were like, what the fuck? I was like, it's alright. We've just gone from ends to other ends. It's all relative.
You know, when they saw that sign, if they would have asked me, how long does it take for you to get from this flat to your university? I would have told them it takes about an hour. And then they would have said to me, how long does it take for you to get from our house to the university? Probably about an hour. Brother, it made no difference.
It's
Zero difference. In fact, you know what? I guess on some days, yeah, it probably would took longer to get from
because
Kensal.
he had to go all the way down. We had to go all the way up.
Yeah, yeah.
All the way up, yeah, all the way up to Harrow. Thing is, yeah, we couldn't even get off at Harrow. That was the funny thing. We had to get off at Kenton, and 25 minutes after that long journey.
No sense.
That
Zero
that just
sense.
that just demonstrates how desperate we were just to like get away.
It was worth it. I don't regret it.
Every penny. But do you remember like how much we were paying? We were paying like £60 a week,
Something like that. Yeah.
like a 3 bed. Look at it now.
I mean, that would be like at least 3 or 4 times that amount now.
I think we were pretty fortunate when we went uni when we went uni.
Yeah. It's so expensive now.
Yeah, bruv. First year, man, that was something else. Yeah, that's where the prank started.
That is
That
where the
was
prank started.
that was the
Very short-lived.
yeah.
Very short-lived, but there were pranks, and they are on somehow they've got onto YouTube, and they were all in Gujarati, and you guys played that at the wedding reception.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that.
all good. I had to translate it as well. But to be fair, we did blank out a lot of the X-rated content.
Bro, you have a bird that is like sounds like it's inside your shed.
It's outside. Yeah, this is the time when you get all these random animals. Thing is, when I'm working here, right, you have like these two squirrels like friggin' fighting and knocking the windows over, so I'm always distracted by these squirrels that live somewhere above me. They keep jumping down.
Any guy living with squirrels, bro.
It's very distracting.
Second year we lived in Warren Street, right? And
Yeah.
then we had a gap year, and you carried on working.
No, I apparently had a gap year. I had a part gap year. I didn't actually
So
take a
you,
gap.
because oh
So
you,
what I basically did, because I couldn't. So everyone else was going to work, right? Um, like all you guys. And then what I didn't want to do was go home for another year. So what I thought I would do and be quite smart, I'm like, I'm going to do a part year placement and spread my last year of uni out over 2 years. So essentially, I'm working
mm,
over 2 years and studying over 2 years for my last year of uni.
okay.
Those 2 years, I didn't actually work. I was basically doing part-time uni in third and fourth year.
I didn't know that. I didn't understand how your setup was because I was like, because you had a flat in that year that
No,
we were working. You were living out in Harrow,
bro, yeah,
but you were basically part working that year, part studying, part working.
yeah, but I wasn't working. I didn't work. That's
You were
what
promoting.
basically.
So wait, your placement for university was promotion. You
Yeah,
became a promoter.
yeah. Well, that's what uni thought, and that's what everyone else thought. I'm like, I just didn't want to move back home. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't deal with like 2 years of like living out. I'm not ready for that.
You got that taste of freedom.
I was not ready for that, so I just longed it out as much as possible. Like, if it was my choice, I would have gone on for like another 2 years after I graduated. Should have just done a master's or another degree or something. I just was not ready to move back home.
So your year as a your industrial placement as a promoter. Tell us about that, man. How actually, you know what? I don't understand how it used to work. Like, okay, I get the whole like flyering and running guest lists and
Yeah,
stuff. But how did you get into it? How long did you stay in it? What was the whole process?
it was bits, wasn't it? So it was like a lot in it, a lot not in it. But then I think last year, like the fourth year, when we started finishing uni, that's when I kind of went proper full time, like 4, 5, 6 months, and then I kind of quit after that. But essentially, if you think about pyramid scheme, right? It's a good analogy. Think about how pyramid schemes work, right?
Okay,
So you get paid when you recruit other people, right?
right.
So money runs up. So if you think about what you have to sell, so suppose you've got a target of 100 people
Mhm.
sell to,
Mhm.
um, and you just couldn't be bothered. So then you recruit, like say whoever you want. There's not a number, but like look, you've got 10 tickets each, sell them, and basically they might get like a 20% cut of the ticket
Okay.
price. So if like a ticket's 10 quid, they'll get 2 quid off it. But if they sell like enough, back in those days, 20 quid to go out was quite a bit, right? That will kind of last you the whole night.
Yeah.
And they got free entry. So I would promise them, yeah, you get free entry and you sell like whatever you sell, you get like 20% of it.
But then how much do you make from their
So
sale?
it depends. So if you're just a ticket agent, then yeah, you just get whatever you get off the ticket. But then
Yeah.
when I used to actually do events, it was like you used to take a salary for the event, and then whatever the profit was once we paid the venue and the DJs, split between however many partners have a cut in the event. So yeah, it was different because sometimes I would just be like, yeah, I'll sell tickets. Sometimes I didn't do shit, and that's when I used to call you boys and be like, don't worry about paying, just come
Yeah,
in
it's
and
you're on
shine.
comp. You're on comp.
It's all on comp. It's all on comp. But typically, it's basically runs as a pyramid scheme, doesn't it? It's like one person at the top that has either partners or you might have four partners, and then they have to have ticket agents who then have to have ticket agents who then sell to their mates who sell to other mates, and it all kind of fills back up.
I just remember you because in final year we lived out, me, Mick, and then two others, and you would come over. This is when you were like full-fledged promoter mode. Yeah, like full-time, 100%
Hang on, what's going on?
in the game. And you would like, you wouldn't care about parking tickets. Your car would, you would just park your car outside the flat and just pay the fine as if that was how much the parking would cost you.
Yeah, true though.
So that's where your promoting money was going, man.
But bro, the amount of tickets I got on that bloody road.
I remember you showing me. You open your glove box and it was full of parking tickets.
The problem was you'd have to wake up. That was outside the final year flat. You'd have to wake up at 8 o'clock,
Yeah,
move the car,
yeah.
and drive down to Angel, and that's where you could park in the car park because there's no other parking. It's all permits, and then you'd have to take the bus back at 8 in the morning. And a lot of times, like you've been out, so you're hanging. There's no way you're gonna move the car. I remember that one time, right? We got back from I can't remember where it was. We got back from so it might have been Terminals. We got back and my car's outside. I'm like, it came to a point where I refused to pay any more tickets, so I slept in the car. The minute we got in, I slept in the car. I'm like, right, the person's going to knock on the car window and the enforcement officer will knock on the window to wake me up. This fucker didn't wake me up, gave me a ticket anyway.
Your plan did not work.
No, it was good to try. But I think after that, I thought, you know what, it's not worth it. Right, but how did you find it though, going back? Like, after it was all done.
Well, we went traveling.
Oh
We
yeah,
went
you guys.
traveling. So, I was back for what? I think maybe a couple of weeks. And then we were in Southeast Asia for 2.5 months. And then I came back from there. And then I worked with Mick at the council, some temp job. And that was only for like a month or two. And then I went backpacking again for 2.5 months to India and Nepal. So I don't feel like I ever got the whiplash until I came like properly back after backpacking, and I came back. Yeah, then I found it rough because then it was just like, okay, now you got to find a job and all that jazz. And we were struggling then because it was 2008, so that's when the financial crisis was kicking in. There was that people were queuing up outside like Northern Rock, trying to get their cash out. ATMs weren't working. So at that point, it was tough finding a job. And I think we just kept temping. We just kept doing temp work.
Yeah, I think that's what we were doing, weren't we? Because I think when you guys were traveling, I remember, I was definitely just. Well, no, actually, I was still promoting. Then I think after you guys came
Still at
back,
it, still on that pyramid thing.
exactly. I think after you probably when you went India and Nepal, that's when I kind of called it a day. Of like, right, time to get serious.
Yeah,
That's when I really got depressed because I still wasn't at home. I was literally like out during the
sleeping
day
in your
and
car,
night.
innit?
Yeah, exactly. More or less sleeping in the car. Yeah, that's what it was. That was like hardcore promoter lifestyle. Wake
So
up.
your rent was basically your parking tickets.
Yeah, exactly. And petrol was quite reasonable back then, so why not?
We work. So we've worked together in like many different places. We've worked
Yeah.
together at Next, um, in
Next,
retail for a couple of years, different departments.
you were
Um,
in Repen, weren't you?
replanning it
You were
back in
in the
stock.
stock room chilling, while I
Yeah,
was out on the shop floor like busting my ass.
yeah. Replan was the one, man, because no one really comes to bother you as long as you know where the things are and you
Yeah,
like
you
look
just
like you're
walk
busy
around.
stacking things. It's fine. Um, and then we worked at SIA together, and that was
Yeah.
data entry dramas. And then I think we after that, that's when I got the call to go to the unit to the job at City, the
Yeah.
university. Um, and then I think it was mixed wedding straight after that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's when I quit SIA. I was like, mate's getting married, we're gonna piss off for like 2 months anyway.
yeah.
So yeah, I quit. But yeah, SIA was that was probably one of the funniest jobs I've ever had because you and Mick were there.
Didn't you? Didn't you like? Didn't you like? My manager went to the toilet at the same time as you.
Yeah. I was sitting there, I was chilling. My man walks in. We felt quite intimate as we had that moment.
You know what? Yeah, you only clarified this story recently because I always thought that you both were side by side in
Oh no,
cubicles or
no, no, no.
something. I was like, what? Because then I couldn't understand what had happened. But he basically walked in on you.
Yeah. But what we used to do, like I definitely did this, and I think Mick did it at times. We used to go into the toilets and take naps. We used to literally rock up after lunch, take like a half an hour, 45-minute nap, right? And
Sleep
I
on
think
the toilet roll. That's the
it was
pillow.
it was one of those times where yeah, it must have been up unlocked. I didn't know what was going on. My man just walked in. I was like yeah, that was so funny. Um, it got a bit awkward after that.
So it's crazy because I've worked with you, I've studied with you, I've partied with you. So I've basically seen every every side of you, and you've seen every side of me, which is strange because normally like out and about, or if you're talking about your friends, you don't normally see what they're like in a work capacity.
Yeah,
Like very rarely, right? That you'd see what they're like at work, you see what they're like outside of work, you see what they're like with their friends, you see what they're like with their
yeah,
spouses. um I just thought of that. I never even realized that. That's crazy.
that's nuts, man.
Because you know how
That's
some people have like their work profile, and
fresh.
yeah, and then they have like their home profile. Like you know the ones where you talk to someone and you know they're from the ends, right? You
Yeah,
know that this person will understand all the slang that you need to drop, but you're in the work environment, so you're all profesh. So, oh, you're right with that. Yeah, okay, cool. I'll sign that off. And you know, if it was man from the end or like us, it'd be like, yeah, bruv, yeah. Can you get this? Can you run this over for me, please? Or print this out. Don't long it out, yeah. But you know, when it's profesh, but does that ever happen to you where you're talking, you come across someone in any kind of setting where it's like you're meant to be more of your demeanor should be more of your professional demeanor, but
yeah,
you know that that person is from the ends and they
yeah.
know that you're from the ends, but both of you refuse to acknowledge the fact that you're local mans.
I was exactly like that up till probably 6 months ago. More and more now, I've been just dropping it. Like, what you know, yeah, you said it. You hit the nail on the head. Like, you know when someone's from the ends.
You could tell.
There's some aura, right, about them. You could tell. So yeah, I've got this guy that's joined my team, and only recently I found out he's from Mitcham, right?
Okay.
I was like, he's from there, right?
Yeah.
But
He's a road man. He's a road man.
the minute he rocked up, right? The minute he rocked up, he's like all like, he talks profesh, he dresses profesh, and then I was like, what's going on, bruv? He's like, yeah, bruv, all good. That's when it dropped, bruv. Everything changed. That minute, everything changed. He's like, he's on the level now. But you know what? He was one of those where he was like, he would keep it professional, like,
Yeah.
regardless. I was like, you know what? I just know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he dropped it. I was like, yeah, bro, I'm from Mitcham, innit? I was like,
Bro.
I. But yeah,
There's
normally that never happens. And normally, like, I personally have kept it like professional like that because I refuse to, right? And I have refused to. But recently, I'm like, let me just see it. Like, let me see how this is gonna play out.
You know what? I embrace it, man. I literally will in the office. I will teach my coworkers South London slang and get them, up to speed with the local lingo. But there was this guy who joined the team, and we were similar. It's very similar situation, right? Like, I saw him, he saw me, gave him the nod, and I was like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from South." I was like, "Okay, cool." Nothing broke at that point, yeah. And then we just started talking about like school and stuff. And he went to the same primary school as me. He was in my sister's class. Yeah. He was in my sister's class. Nick, shout out to Nick if you're listening. One day we were just like shooting the shit, and then I don't know who dropped what, but we just started like busting out straight like we were talking to each other on like the high road. Like, what's going on, bro? Oh, that is long, I'm tired. My kids are busting my ass. Yeah, man, I feel that, bro. I've got a nephew that's doing the same thing. Then we're just chatting like that, and then my friend Ali, she was like, "When you and Nick talk, I don't really follow what you're saying. I don't really understand." I was like, "Yeah, because we're chatting roadman talk."
It's a special language. Yeah, but it's weird, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you kind of embrace it, and then you have to now.
I think you have to. I think it's a shame if you can't be yourself at work.
Actually.
Obviously, there's certain things that you need. Like, I think you have to be professional for sure. But I think it's a shame if you're not able to bring your personality, because that's my personality. Like, my personality is the way I talk, is the way I carry myself. I mean, that's how, like you're saying, that's how when you meet someone, and oh yeah, they're from the end, without them even saying anything.
Yeah. Exactly. But you know what? Like, I've noticed this, like with those kind of South lot, right? In the work environment, I've noticed a lot more profanity comes out. Like, it goes hand in hand, right? When you're chatting roadman, it just comes out. And I've made that mistake where I've started to swear quite loudly in the office.
So wait, hold on, for the audience. Situl works in the public sector, so he's got to be profesh. Like, I think you have to. You can't be effing and blinding. I don't know, but don't people swear?
They do, but my level of swearing is like it's next level. Like, now, the amount I swear at work is literally ridiculous. Where someone literally came up to me like, "Can you not swear around me?"
Really?
Like, yeah. It's like, I don't like that. I can't help it. Yeah. You got.
Were you swearing at them?
No, but you know just how you generally talk like fucking this and fucking that, and like, what's all this shit?
Like that. Well, what you were talking about presentation? Like, yeah, man. So you wanna just take these slides and then fucking send them to this guy, and then just fucking present it. Just fucking present Talk, man.
That's it. That's the conversation I had. Just fucking
What?
visit the sites.
Yeah, get to the fucking point.
What are you worried about? Oh God. Thing is, I could do that. I could do that with my team, right? They're cash. They kind
Are
of
you
get it.
serious? So you literally you'll in your meeting with your team, if they're presenting, you are effing and blinding.
Not as much, but yeah, sometimes, yeah. But it's when I'm talking like one on one as well, like in the office. Just check myself, bro. I don't know how people control like not swearing. I find it difficult. And Pav, she has a go at me. She's like, and she hears me on the phone sometimes, like, you're so fucking rude to your team and you talk to.
She's swearing as well, bro.
She has a go at me for being so rude to people at my work. I'm like, I'm not being rude. That's how I chat. That's my chat. That's my chat, man. Leave me alone.
Allow me, innit? Allow me.
Allow me, bro.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
I know, bro. It's yeah. I need to cut down. It is what it is.
You should have a swear jar.
I'll be
Do you
poor.
swear around your kids? So Situl's got 2 kids, boy and a girl.
Yeah, Yash and Ritz. But check this. So a couple of weeks ago, we're in the car, right? And driving in South, like it just stresses you out.
Yeah,
Especially where I go from like my house to where my parents live.
Yeah.
Minute I start getting closer, blood starts boiling, right?
Yeah.
So the kids are in the car.
The F word starts to come out.
Yeah, right. I'm on my way to my parents, and like someone's driving like a proper dickhead, and I was like, oh shit. And yeah, she is like, oh, daddy said shit. Bro, we park up. My man runs in, goes tells my dad. He's like, daddy said shit. You snitch. I was like, bro, you know what happens? What happens to snitches in ends, yeah? They clock on. They have a go at me for swearing.
They'll pick it up, man, like sponges, straight away.
They won't ever swear. They won't ever swear. They'll literally like they'll check when I swear or Pav swears. They'll check us, and then the next responsible person they see, they'll tell them. That is all. It's usually either my dad or my mother-in-law.
One thing I've definitely noticed with you and how you are with your kids is that you're proper easygoing.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they could be absolute, like on one, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. When they're having those days, like seriously, I flip out at them, and that sometimes does happen. But generally, I'm like, what's the point trying to fight a losing fight? Sometimes,
But where do you think that comes from? From you? Like, were your parents like that with you when you were growing up?
Bro, my parents were the opposite. My dad was the opposite. Yeah, it's definitely not my parents. It's because of what my parents were like. I'm trying to be quite relaxed, whereas Paz not as, like she's on it with the kid. Like, she's quite militant on everything, like school, dinners, homework, like everything, right?
Yeah.
So she has to be the bad one, so I could be the good one.
Okay, so that's
so we kind of balance it out. But then, again, sometimes they drive me up the wall. Where I've basically said to Riz the other day, it's like, right, I'm gonna leave you. I'm like I can't deal with you. But then it's her age. She's like going on 8, and 8-year-old girls these days are more or less teenagers, right? Okay. So kids are just growing up a lot faster than like how we were growing up, and like they are a lot smarter. So I think sometimes that frustrates me.
Yeah,
it's like it is what it is. But yeah, you have to be kind of try to be a bit relaxed and just take it as it comes, isn't it?
What would be one thing that you wish someone told you before you had kids?
You know what? Nothing could prepare you. That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah. Even when I had Ritz, and then I had Yash, like nothing could prepare you. Like you think you've got it all down, right? After your first one, second one comes along and they're like complete opposite, or just a very different personality. And it's like, yeah, it's like when I say to like Ritz, can you do this? No. What'd you say to that, bruv? No. Straight up, no. What'd you say to that? You can't say, like, you can scream and shout as much as you want, and it's like, no, I'm not doing it. Bro, you can't do anything. What's the point of stressing?
That's when you call in Pav, innit? Calling the big guns.
No. Then I tell them, like, I'm going to let them do what they do. Like, if they don't want to do their homework or if they don't want to eat dinner now, like, can't force them.
Just let them do what they want.
Yeah, within limits, obviously, because I don't want them to be like us, bro. We got in too much trouble. We were let loose.
Do you think that's why you were the way that you were, was because your parents were more strict? Or your dad was more strict?
They were strict, but I got into a lot more trouble as well, like, than my kids.
So you got into trouble from, like, day one?
Day one, like, at the age of 4.
You were swearing around the house.
Swearing, it was bad, right? Like, my parents still tell me to this day, and, like, my extended family still they tell me stories of, like, bad shit I've done as a 4-year-old or as a 5-year-old.
What's the worst story?
There's probably 2. Like, the worst one was probably when I was like 4 or 5. It was my cousin's wedding, up north somewhere, and on her wedding day, I went up to her and bit her hand. She was bleeding, like 4 or 5. Seriously.
What?
Like,
Why?
I don't know, bruv. I don't know. Like, my parents were so embarrassed that I had to leave at that point.
So wait, hold on. Was it during a ceremony or something?
Her wedding day, her Indian wedding.
On the
in
day?
the mandap, yeah. No, it's bad. Like I don't want my kids to be like that, right? Because I was put in a box and I was like lashing out and just doing all kinds of shit.
Did you like bite and like not let go, or what was the deal?
So what I heard, apparently when I was little, I had like this thing about biting girls, like on their arms. I like did it to my neighbor, but I did it to my cousin at a wedding on her wedding day. So yeah, that was probably that was one of the worst. The other one was actually to my mum, bro.
What did you do?
A couple of years later, right? I must have been like slightly older, but not that much older, maybe 6, 7. Bro, so my mum was sitting. We're at a wedding again, right? My mum was sitting in front of me. I don't know what possessed me to do this, right? I was chewing gum. I took the gum out and stuck it in my mum's hair, like quite high up.
At the wedding? At
the wedding. She didn't notice till we got like in the car. It's like bruv. She flipped. I don't remember what happened after, but I don't think she found out it was me.
Oh really?
I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember doing something so bad that, bruv, it was one of those things. So yeah,
did she have to cut her hair out then?
Yeah, she had to cut her hair like quite short back in the day. Oh,
bruv, that is messed up, man.
No, but this is the thing, right? That's why you have to be like quite careful how crazy you go with kids. Like how you have to be a bit relaxed, let them make their own mistakes, and there are boundaries, obviously, but you can't explain it because every kid's individual, so you could never plan for whatever. And
you have to adapt, right?
Yeah, and the kid could change like that. So one day they could be fine, a year or 2 later they're a different person, and you just have to adapt, bro.
I actually never knew that story. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I've known you this many years and never heard that story. I don't know. I definitely wasn't. I was not a good kid. I also was not well behaved. I think for me, one time, the one thing that I remember is that I used to like the sound of the Hoover, so I would just get glasses and smash them, and then ask my mom, and then I'd ask my mom to do the Hoover.
Oh no!
Some kind of crazy sadistic kid, man.
She must have flipped.
And then what else did I do? I had one time I was coming from school, and okay, no, so you know how you're saying you don't understand why you do it. This is exactly I can't understand why I did this, but I picked up a stone, and I was walking home from school with my mum and my two sisters, and I got that stone and started scratching cars, and I was trying to see which car would scratch and which car would not scratch. And I was like, oh, that one scratches, that one doesn't scratch, that one scratches, and literally line of like 7. I must have been around 7 years old or something.
Oh, bloody hell.
And I went down a line of cars, and then my mum she had no idea. This lady comes out of her house, and she's like, your son is scratching cars. And then my mom's like, no, he's not scratching cars. And then she was like, yeah, he scratched that car. Look, he scratched that car. And then her husband in the background, he's like, oh yeah, he scratched the other car. Bruv, 2 cars side by side. You can see a line, right?
Oh shit.
As I saw that shit, I remember dropping that stone, bruv. My mom avoided that. We were all still in school. So my mom avoided that road while we were still in school. So she did not go down that road anymore and went the long way home each time for the next like 5 years, just because she didn't want to see what her stupid son had done down that road with a fucking stone, bro.
See, that's the thing, man. You have to be. That's crazy. That is nuts. But that just proves it, right? Like your parents were kind of quite strict as well, weren't they? Like not crazy strict, but
I think they were. I think my mom was more strict. My dad, I think it's similar how you're describing yours and Pav's setup. Mum was like, I would get threatened by my mum. Like my dad would use my mum as a threat. My mum would not use my dad as a threat. Really, I don't think so. I remember maybe in the early days, but as the older we got, mum was the threat.
Yeah.
Wait until your mum hears about this. Like, mum would never say, wait until I'm like, what's dad going to do? Dad's just going to have jokes.
Exactly.
You know what dad's like. He's chilled. He's like he's not really. Yeah. I mean, he had an anger on him, and there was a couple of times I remember him like, getting really angry, but very, very, like, I could remember like 2 times that it ever happened. So it was definitely mum.
Yeah. I guess we've got it easier as dads being playing the nice guy.
I don't know how I'll be, I don't actually know. I think it just depends. Do you feel like you're stricter with one of them or the other? Or you're the same?
Rid's now, but that's because she's older.
Okay.
And that's because sometimes she drives me bonkers.
Okay. So you got to keep her in check.
Yeah. Like, it's the point where she just said, like, she said straight out no to my face. Like, no. Like, I literally, nothing else. No. But yeah, I think it's, I think they're probably about the same. Like, Yash is the opposite. He's like really good, but then Rids was really good at his age. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
I think that's us for this episode. Thank you so much, Situl, for being this week's guest. It was great reminiscing about the old days. Thank you for the listeners for staying until the end. If you stayed until the end, please follow, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And Situl, any shout outs or any messages for the listeners? They're like, I don't know, 7 listeners that we have today. But maybe we'll have more at some point. And they'll go into the archives and be like, oh yeah, this was one of the earlier episodes.
Exactly. It will start out like the pranks. And growth, don't worry. No, it's been good to go on, and yeah, as my boy said, subscribe on all the platforms you're on.
Yeah. And if you have any stories about crazy things that you did as a child, we want to hear them, and we'll play them out next episode. All right. Thanks, everyone.